Hello everyone, Denise here. Today I'm going to show you how to make the Siesta Fiesta blanket. Let's get started. This is a blanket with super bright colors, color changing, and then we're going to do a simple border on it. But it is a very fun project, even if you are an advanced crocheter, and if you're a beginner crocheter, I will show you how to do everything. We are going to do different stitches. It's not just basic stitches, but it is the color changing that makes the blanket so very beautiful. You can also make this with one color, and I want to tell you about the yarn that I'm going to use for the blanket. I am using two different Red Heart yarns. This is what I have in my stash, so this is what I'm using. The Red Heart with Love is a white yarn. If you have any white yarn or any yarn that you have a contrast with another color, you could do that. So even if you don't have these yarns, you can use whatever yarns that you choose. And if you don't have a variegated yarn like this, a striping yarn would work just as well. An ombre yarn would work just as well. So this blanket can be worked with one color or multiples of any kind of color that you desire. It's just more changing color as you go. How I change color is you won't cut the yarn, you will carry it up the side. So if you want to cut the yarn and you want more ends to weave in, that's for you to decide. But I created it so that you don't have to. The With Love yarn is just the basic white color. This is 6 ounces, 170 grams, 315 yards, 288 meters. I am not positive they still sell this. I don't see why they wouldn't, but I purchased this quite a while ago. It is just white. It's a worsted weight 4. So this calls for a 6.5 mm crochet hook. I have several balls of this because I do believe when it went on sale somewhere, I picked up a bunch of them because white yarn is useful. It's just useful to have in your stash. So I have that yarn, and then the colorful part of the project is the Red Heart Super Saver Jumbo. I purchased this at Hirschner's. I think they carry every color of Red Heart, but I knew they carried this. I had purchased it from them in the past. This is larger. It is 10 ounces, 283 grams. It is 482 yards and 440 meters. It's also a worsted weight 4. It says knitting needle would be a 6. Does not say what the crochet hook is there. Here we go. Oh, that's for that project. Never mind. Crochet hook is calls for a 5. And I used the simple swatch that I did mine. I wanted it to be a little more drapey. So I used a 6.5. If you want a denser fabric, use a smaller hook. If you want the kind of stitch that the company recommends that they think works best, use what is on your label. And if you want a drapier fabric, always use a hook or 2 sizes up. That's just how I do it. So this yarn is called Mexicana. Yep. And one of these should do the trick. I think definitely, depending on the size that you make, of course. I will leave a general list of blanket sizes below for you to go by. I'm just going to do like a small throw, or maybe even like 36 by 36 blanket. It's not going to be that large. So let's get started. We'll get to the hook I'm using and then the stitch count and all that. I am going to chain with my white yarn. Get it up here. I was sorting it out. I'm going to do a slip knot. So I crisscross on my finger, then I push up through and pull. That's my slip knot. I'm going to reposition my camera so that it's going to point down here. Okay, so 1 second. Okay, all set. Do my slip knot, wrap it around my finger, and then I push up through like so, and then I'm going to chain until I get to the width that I want for my blanket. you do the same. I'm going to do it multiples of 2, even though I don't really think that's necessary because it's just not, but that's what I'm going to do. Multiples of 2 to the width that you want, and I'll be right back to you. I'll let you know what my width and my chain is. Okay, I have a chain of 96 chains, and it's around 44 inches. I think that's good. 96 is a good number. So I'm going to chain one more so I can single crochet in the second chain from the hook. So we are going to single crochet in the second chain from the hook, and we're going to single crochet all the way down this row. So row 1, single crochet in the second chain from the hook, and each chain all the way down and across. So I'm going to meet back up with you at the end of my row 1 when I'm done with all of my single crochets. When you get to the end of your row 1, you will chain 1, turn your work, and we're going to do the same thing for the next 2 rows. So we are going to put a single crochet in this first space or stitch where we did our chain 1, and in each stitch all the way across we're going to do a single crochet, and that is for the next 2. So this one and the next one we're going to do that same exact thing, and then I will meet back up with you when you are ready to do your row 4. Okay, now we're to the fun part. So once you get to the end of your row 3, don't finish that last stitch. Okay, leave your stitch just like this. And then before you do your last pull through, get your second color of yarn if you're changing colors. Put it around your hook like this, and then pull through. I leave about a 6-inch tail to weave in there. And then I hold these two so that they don't get really loose, like this. Okay, and then we're going to chain 1. We're going to start our row 4, turn your work. And now we're going to do a stitch. We're going to do a single crochet, but we're going to do it in a certain spot so that it will show more and be more decorative. So we're going to put a single crochet in our first stitch. We're always going to put one in the first and the last stitch of each row, so always remember that. Put one right here where we did our chain 1. Okay, now looking at your work, you'll see your next single crochet that we usually would put one here, but we're not. We're going to drop down 1 row. We're going to put our single crochet right here, so you can see on my hand there's a hole here and a hole here, a hole here, a hole here, a hole here, a hole here. We're always going to go in this second one right here, right below where we would go. So doing a normal single crochet, go into this stitch right down here, pull up your loop here, give it a little bit of room so that you can finish the stitch, yarn over and pull through both. Okay, we're going to do that across the row here. So not the stitch where we would normally go in, but right here. Go in there, pull up a loop, give it a little room, yarn over and pull through. See how that's making a pretty decorative single crochet there, because we're dipping down into the row below. So not this stitch, but this one right here. And always remember, when you are doing your stitches, whatever count your very first row was, that's going to be your stitch count every row of the blanket. It will never change. So if you need to count your stitches, put a marker in your first stitch and your last stitch so that you can always be on track and not add stitches as you go, because it's very easy to do. I did it on my sample. So if you need to count your stitches every row, make sure you're on point, then that's okay. I need to do it as well. So keep going into the row below, right where we should go into our stitch below. Right here's where we normally would go in. We're going right here, all the way down our row. And as you're working, you'll see that it makes this beautiful striping with this Mexicana color. I absolutely love it. I think it's so pretty. And with a white background, it really, really brings out that color even more. So I'm going to do my row here, and I will meet up with you at the end of this row so I can tell you how to proceed. Okay, when you get to the end of your row, looking at your work here, don't put a stitch in there, okay? We're going to put a single crochet in this last stitch here, because remember, we're always going to put one in the first and the last stitch of the row. Okay, so the first stitch is a single crochet normal, the last stitch is a single crochet normal. Okay, we're going to chain one, and we're going to turn our work. And now for our row 5, we are going to do single crochets with our Mexicana color. If you're changing colors, this would be your second color. This would be the color you just did your last row with. So single crochet in this first and same as your chain one here. And then do a single crochet in each stitch all the way across. I'll meet up with you in just a moment. Make sure your stitch count is the same as it should be for each and every row. All right, so once you get to the end, remember we left off with our white here. We didn't cut it. So pull through with the white to finish that last stitch there. And then hold these two together so that they don't get loose or too tight. You want them to be just right, okay? Chain one, turn your work. Leave the Mexicana color attached and just sort of forget about it. So we are going to do a row of single crochet for row 6 and row 7. So the next 2 rows we're going to do single crochet rows in white. So start them the same way that we have been. We're going to single crochet in this first and same stitch as our chain one. And then we're going to put a single crochet in each stitch all the way across. We're going to do that for this row that we're on and the next row, because we want to come back down here where we have our colored yarn to switch colors. So that is one good way to keep in your mind that you need to get back over to the colored side so that you can change colors. So if you're ever wondering, when you change colors, that's when you get back to the other side. So I'll see you in a minute. Okay, we are at the color changing stitch. So I'm going to go into the stitch. I just wanted to note that I like to go into the chain 1. So looking at your work here, normally you would go into here. I feel like it creates better edges if I go into the chain 1. So I've been going into this. Okay, pull up one loop of the white and then pull up the color here. Make sure you're not pulling it tight, okay? And then pull through to start your next row. You don't want to pull it too tight because then you'll create like a bunching, and you don't want to do that. Okay, so we are going to hold on to the white just a little bit there so that it doesn't get too loose. Chain 1, and we're gonna turn our work, grab it, very long. Okay, now we're gonna start our next row. Our next row we're going to do, it's just a single crochet row, and we go into this first stitch like we have been as our chain 1, do our single crochet, and then we're going to do a single crochet stitch in each all the way across. So I will be right back to you at the end of my row of single crochets here. Okay, we are to the end of our row here. We need to chain 2 and turn our work. And now I'll explain the stitch to you that we're going to do. So if you've ever done cluster stitches, this is a cluster stitch. This is a 2 double crochet cluster stitch. So in this stitch right here, that's where we're going to work. Not the one with the chain 2, but right here. So we're going to yarn over. We're going to put the hook in the stitch. We're going to yarn over and we're going to pull up a loop. We're going to yarn over and go through 2 and stop. We're going to yarn over again. We're going to go back into that same stitch, yarn over and pull up another loop. We're going to yarn over and go through 2. Then we're going to yarn over and go through all 3. That is a 2 double crochet cluster stitch. 2 double crochets are 1 stitch in our single crochet here. We're going to do that all the way across. So let's do that again. Yarn over, go into the next stitch here. Yarn over, pull up. Yarn over, go through 2. Yarn over, go into the stitch. Yarn over, pull up. Yarn over, go through 2. Yarn over, go through all 3. Yarn over, go into the next stitch. Yarn over, pull up. Yarn over, go through 2. Yarn over, go back into the stitch. Yarn over, pull up. Yarn over, go through 2. Yarn over, go through all 3. Now take a look at those stitches now. Your chain 2 counts as a double crochet here, and we don't do chain 3 because it creates too big of a gap and we can get misled by that and add stitches. So that's why we do a chain 2. I have tested it, trust me. And then each one of these is the 2 double crochet cluster stitches, and if you look at it, it creates quite a nice fabric that is not too bulky, but it's nice. This is going to be a nice warm blanket. So we're going to continue on with that, and I'm going to keep doing these 2 double crochet cluster stitches all the way down this row, all the way down this row. And then at the end of the row, our last stitch is going to be a double crochet. So each stitch, we are going to do that 2 double crochet cluster. get over here in the light. That's why I keep scooting over so that you can see it better. Yarn over, go into the stitch, yarn over, pull up, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go into the stitch, yarn over, pull up, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through all 3. And continue that all the way down this row. Okay, at the end of your row 9, you will finish your last stitch will be just a regular double crochet. I'm going into that chain 1 and the stitch there for stability. Helps the edges stay clean. And now for row 10, we're going to carry our white yarn up. So if you have finished your stitch, pull back that last pull through. Bring up your white, but do not make it tight, okay? So for row 10, we are doing a row of single crochet in white. Row 11, we're doing a single crochet row in white. Row 12, single crochet in white. Row 13, a single crochet row in white. So we have row 10, 11, 12, and 13 are all going to be white single crochet rows, and they will all be the same. And each row, like I said at the beginning, you'll have the same stitch count throughout your entire blanket. So we have chained 1, we turn our work, and then we put a single crochet in our very first and same stitch as our chain 1, and then each stitch all the way across. We're doing that for this row. This row is row 10, 11, 12, and 13. When you get to the end of your row 13, you're going to be over here by your colored yarn over here so that we can change color again. And then I will tell you what the repeat is for the blanket after this. So do your row 10, 11, 12, and 13 single crochet in white, and I will meet right back up with you to tell you about the repeat. So I will see you in a minute. So at the end of your row 13, you will be back on your color side. Your color side will be a repeat of row 4. So on row 4, we did our, let me bring my swatch in here so you can take a look at the entire thing that it did. This is where we just left off. We just finished this row right here underneath of the colored. So that's 4 rows of white, and now we're going to repeat row 4, which is down here, way down here. See that? This is row 4, and this is row 14. We're going to repeat row 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then the 4 we just did in white, 10, 11, 12, and 13. For the entirety of our blanket, that's what we're going to do. So row 14 is going to be this row. Row 15 is going to be this row, the single crochet in the Mexicana. And then row 6 and 7 are going to be, row 16 and 17 are going to be white. And then we will proceed with row 18 being the single crochet in Mexicana. And then row 19, we're going to do the 2 double crochet cluster stitches. And then we're going to repeat over and over and over. All right, so once you get to your row 19, you will repeat rows 10 through 19 for the entirety of the blanket. I have it in PDF form. I will try to upload it to my website if I can remember how to do so. It's been a long time since I've done that. I'm sure I can figure it out. I created this so that it's easy to read for a beginner. There are no abbreviations other than where you can see where I put white single crochet on the row, and that was to remind myself what I was doing on what row. So it will say what you do each row under the row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, and it will also tell you what color you are using and what stitch you are doing. So once you get to row 19, your repeat, like I said, will be 10 through 19 on the pattern. I created a separate page for the repeat so that you can have it and refer back to it when you need to, and you don't have to carry the entire pattern around while you're doing your blanket. So you'll just alternate and follow along. It will be easy once you get going. You'll remember what you're doing. You won't even need the paper anymore. But until then, you will have it. And then I do also have the optional border that I will be showing you soon on the video, and border instructions. So there's 2 border options on the blanket. So I will link my website down below. I don't often do that because I don't really update my website. I haven't for a really long time. A really, really long time. I'm saying years I haven't updated, so I probably won't update too much. It's not somewhere that I put a lot of information, but I do like to put, when I have my PDFs, I do like to put my PDFs there. So this PDF will be there, so I will link it below. So I'm going to show you how to do the border of the blanket, both of them. So stay tuned. Okay, showing you on the sample because the blanket is much too large. If you want to weave in your ends at this point, you sure can. End on a row 19. That's the easiest way to do this border. I have done it the harder way. Trust me, this is the easier way. So looking at your work, you just finished a row 19. So our tail is over here. It actually doesn't matter what side your tail is on. It can be on this side because this blanket is reversible. Just whatever side that you are looking at as you finish your blanket on your row 19, you will then go to your right side and you will start to work with the white. So you're going to take white yarn, you're going to pick up your right side over here, which for me is this side. So I'm going to pick up this side. There's no ends to worry about right now. So take your yarn, you're going to put your hook in the very corner stitch here. You're going to join your yarn just by yarning over and pulling up. I'm going to chain 1 to secure that. I'm going to put a single crochet in that same spot that I just chained, and 1 more single crochet. Now I'm going to put a single crochet in whatever spot that it feels comfortable for my hook to go in. Typically, if you have a single crochet row, you'll get 1 single crochet in that row. If you are up to your double crochet row up here on the ends, you'll have double crochets or chain 2s. Typically I can fit 2 in them. You just want to make sure that you don't put too many stitches along the side or you will get ruffle. You want to make sure you don't put too few in there or you will get puckering. So just space it evenly. And if you want to count how many stitches you put on this side, you can repeat it on the other side so your numbers match. I am not going to do that. Eyeballing it is good enough for me. So I'm just going to go ahead and put my hook in wherever it feels comfortable and is spaced nicely. Single crochet all the way along. when you get to a corner, put 3 single crochets in your corner stitch. That allows you to have 1 single crochet for a side and an end, and then 1 single crochet for the corner, and that gives you a nice corner. If you have ran out of yarn, at some point in your blanket, if you've ran out of yarn, try to end on a colorful row if you're changing colors on your rows. Doesn't matter if it's a row 19, that's just the pattern repeat. But if you ran out, let's say you ran out down here, just try to end on one of the colorful rows, and then this border will work very well for you. I'm to that corner here, so I'm going to put 3 in it. 1, 2, and 3. Now this is the other end, so we're just going to put a single crochet in each single crochet. I really enjoy these hooks from Dollar Tree. I know they're $1.25 for 2 of them, but I really like them. I think they're super quality for that price. Okay, I'm to a corner. Gonna do 3. 1, 2, and 3. And now I'm gonna work down this edge. I'm just gonna tuck my ends in behind. You want to be mindful when you're on the edge of your color change that you are grabbing that yarn that we floated. We want to make sure that that yarn is woven in to our blanket edge. So if you need to, turn your work a bit so that you can pay attention to that and be mindful that you are getting all of it. And if it would help you to do that side first so that it's out of your mind and out of your way, you certainly can. So you just want to make sure that you are grabbing it, grabbing your floats there as you're working your single crochets. So my next float is orangey yellow. I'm going to make sure that I have that with my stitches here as I'm working them in, tucking them in, so to speak, to our border. Next one is white. Very important to do that. Otherwise, you're going to regret not paying attention. You'll end up with floats just hanging out there. You'll need to fix it. Don't want to do that. Okay, when I did get down to the corner here, do not cut your yarn. We are not done. We're to the corner. I'm not putting 3 in that corner because we are not working along this edge. We have 2 rows of single crochet in white. That's how we started. We're not going along that edge. We are going to chain 1 and we're going to turn. And now we're going to work back the other way. So single crochet in that first stitch or space. Single crochet in each stitch that we just made single crochets in. I'm really far up on my camera. Sorry if that was inconvenient for you. If you can hear that music, that is my Christmas tree. I have a video when you're 3 in the corner, 1, 2, and 3. I have a video up on my channel of our tree 1 year, and the music box is from my childhood. My mother gifted it to me years and years ago. It is from the 70s, and it will play this music over and over, and it also makes the lights blink if you plug them into the music box. It's really cool. They have made other ones over the years. It's really rare when you can find the older ones, though. It is a constant in our house during Christmas time. So much so that we don't hear it, so it just occurred to me that you might be hearing it. It's like background noise at this point in our home, but yeah, you might be hearing it, so that's what you're hearing. It's our Christmas tree. So we're working along. When we get to the corner here, we're going to put 3 single crochets in the corner. 1, 2, 3. And now we're going to work along the other edge. Single crochet in each stitch or space that you just did a single crochet in. And this gives it a nice clean border. If you are using busy yarn, a nice clean border is my preference anyway. I did think about, and I'll take a look at it in just a second here and see what I think. I did not do it to my original blanket yet. If I love the look of it, I may do it. Also, you could do it to any blanket. Like you could do this edge to any blanket that I'm going to show you in just a moment here. Or this one. The simple edge is super, super easy to do to any stitches that you have worked on a blanket just to finish off. All right, going into my last stitch here, I am going to cut and pull through, and let's take a look and see about my idea. I like the way this looks. This is the way my other blanket looks right now. 2 rows all the way around of the white single crochet. I think it finishes it. It's a little bit of calm with a crazy. But let's say for fun's sake, you don't want to save the rest of your colorful yarn that you have. I do have a lot left over because I had an extra skein of the Mexicana. This is just something I thought of and I didn't execute it, so I don't know what it's going to look like. It might be silly. Let's find out. Let's find out together. So starting at whatever corner you want, now we have 2 rows of white along each one, so it does not matter what one we start with. I will start with the original one, why not? Get into a corner stitch here. I thought if we did the dip down stitch along the edge of the border, it would look really cool. So I'm going to put a single crochet in that same stitch or space as the chain 1 to start off. And then our dip down stitch, we didn't go into the next stitch, we dipped down. And I have loose yarn here that needs to be fixed. But if I was going to dip down, it'd be right here. Just like we did on our blanket. Dipping down on our single crochets on our previous row. Let's go back down. I don't know why I'm so far up today. The corner, single crochet. Need to turn our row and do another single crochet in that corner stitch, and then we'll do a dip down stitch. So I don't know, maybe you won't like this, but it was just it was an idea of mine to see if it would work out. It does look pretty cute. Fighting with my yarn, of course. Always fighting with my yarn. Anyway, a good border for a blanket, even if you're not using these yarns. You could have a neutral color on your border edge, just like I showed you how to do. And then you could do a contrasting or different color for this dip down stitch, putting 2 in the corner there. Continuing on the dip down stitch. Guess you could put 3 in the corner if you want, if 2 is not working out for you. This was not that up. This was not executed other than right now, so. But this would work, and this would be a nice edging to just a regular blanket. Probably incorporate it into one in the future that I do. Let's see what 3 looks like. I'm hooked. Hooked again. Did 3 work? Yeah, I don't think it makes a difference, 2 or 3. I actually think 2 worked better for mine. Almost there. This is how my brain works though. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. If I'm doing someone else's pattern or if I am making my own design, this is how my brain functions. It always goes to the next possible thing. Next possibility in general. It's always going. It's always roaming around trying to figure stuff out. Okay, so I put one single crochet when we started. I think I'm going to put 2. I think 3 is probably the best idea for the corners, if I'm being real honest. And I cut the yarn, I slip stitched, cut the yarn and pull through and take a look at that. Zoom out a bit. See that? It is super busy, right? Super duper busy. I love it though. All right, I have woven in the ends on the blanket, the baby blanket here. I love this blanket so very much. Now you have 2 options for edgings, which you can use on this blanket or any blanket. I'm gonna grab my original one so you can take a look at it. My original blanket is 36 by 40. So it's a good lap blanket. I will not be able to show you the entire thing on my desk here, but I will pop it in. I will have to go outside to show you it in its entirety, but this is it close up. Yeah, this is as good as I can get on my desk. There we go. The land is not flat here, so it doesn't look as straight as it is. But yeah, that is as good as I can get it as far as laying it out somewhere. It's fairly sizable for the room that I need to show it in. So yeah. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I appreciate you. Until the next time.